The world is vast and full of wonders. Across the rural lands of China, countless bizarre incidents remain unexplained to this day. These stories range from eerie to terrifying, yet all come from first-hand accounts of those who experienced them, sending chills down listeners' spines. During the Dragon Boat Festival of 2017, an elderly farmer stayed home alone in his village, while his wife and son went to the city to celebrate. The old man had worked in the cornfield all day long. As the evening fell, he dragged his exhausted body back to the empty house. He prepared himself a bowl of fragrant braised pork with several side dishes, and brought out a fine bottle of liquor his son had bought. Around 8:30 in the evening, the old man stood up to fetch a drinking cup. He was gone for merely a few seconds. However, when he turned back to his seat, he discovered that the braised pork and bottle of liquor had vanished completely from the table. The old man was stunned, though he clearly remembered the meat and wine sitting right there. How could they possibly disappear into thin air? The front door had been bolted securely from inside. There was absolutely no one else in the entire house except himself. Thinking someone might be hiding inside playing tricks on him, he called out loudly, inviting the prankster to come share the food and drink. But the house remained deathly silent with no response whatsoever. An inexplicably eerie atmosphere seemed to permeate the air around him. Sensing something was wrong, the old man grabbed a flashlight and searched every room. Turning on all the lights as he went, he checked every corner of the house, on the beds, inside closets, everywhere he could think of, but found not a single trace of anyone. Fear began creeping into his heart. Not daring to think further, he hurriedly finished his remaining food, washed up, and went straight to bed. The next morning, when the old man woke up, the sight before his eyes left him completely dumbfounded, unable to believe what he was seeing. The braised pork and liquor that had vanished last night was sitting exactly where they had been, completely intact with the bottle still sealed. The old man immediately called his wife and son to tell them about this strange incident, but they assumed he had simply become forgetful with age. But he insisted his mind had always been sharp, and he had never been confused. To this day, this incident remains an unexplained mystery. Coincidentally, another equally bizarre story exists in a friend's childhood memory, one that still haunts him to this very day. That year he was still a young child. After visiting relatives in his ancestral village, darkness had fallen as the family rode home in a three-wheeled vehicle. His father drove in front, while the family chatted along the way. Night deep in a rambling, with only the headlight illuminating the dark country road. Suddenly, the child spotted a familiar figure rushing toward them from ahead at an impossibly fast speed that defied all natural explanation. It was his great-grandfather from the village, dragging behind him a pitch-black figure whose face could not be seen clearly at all. The child was deeply puzzled. He had just seen his great-grandfather back at the village when they left. How could he suddenly appear ahead of them? As his great-grandfather and the dark shadow flew past their vehicle, the child was about to call out when a hand suddenly clamped over his mouth. He looked up to see his grandmother, her face deathly pale, sternly signaling with her eyes for him to remain absolutely silent. Years later, when the child had grown into an adult, he finally learned the shocking truth from relatives back in the ancestral village. His great-grandfather was what legends call a yin messenger, a living person who serves the underworld by capturing wandering ghosts and lost souls. What they saw that night was not his great-grandfather's physical body, but his soul traveling outside his body, dragging a captured ghost behind him. There are still too many things in this world beyond our understanding. Perhaps beyond the boundaries of science, another realm truly does exist.